Hello, everyone. I think that we have our participants already joined and we are ready to start. So welcome to the WEME webinar. First of all, I would like to give you a little bit of information on the project in general. Just a second, I will be accepting some people. Okay. All right. All right. So I would like to first start with talking about the project in general. WEME basically focuses on the climate literacy of students ages from 10 to 14, so they can hopefully adapt and mitigate the effects of global climate change. Of course, this is done with the help of STEAM, a tool that builds skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, analytical thinking, and creativity. Through community science projects, students will learn to engage cognitively, emotionally, behaviorally in science projects through which they will learn how to address the challenges of global climate change. The main issue we're focusing here is STEAM, the lack of educational concepts in the field of climate change. Therefore, we hope to develop a transnationally useful interdisciplinary approach that is applicable for education on climate change on a sufficiently, of course, detailed country-specific target group-oriented, scientifically funded level 4 schools for all types with age focused on pupils from 10 to 14. Our target group is also the parents, school teachers, directors of education, NGOs in the field of STEAM and climate change, universities that deal with STEAM and teacher training departments, the wider public, and so on. So this is the very, the project in a nutshell. Let me accept some other people. This is the project in a nutshell, and our webinars is a part of the work package where we will be basically teaching how to teach climate change and so on. I will be sharing my screen. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So learn on how to teach climate change. We will start with a very interesting quote. It is by Wendell Berry, a farmer, poet, and also an environmentalist. The earth is what we all have in common. Now, we have main topics and subtopics. The main topic is how to teach climate change. However, the subtopics that we will be going through are as follows. Integrating climate change best practices, the importance of local context, tailoring climate education to community needs, developing critical thinking skills through climate debates and discussions, utilizing multimedia resources, documentaries, podcasts, and infographics, as well as assessing students' understanding, effective evaluation strategies for climate education. We will be going through each and every one of them in detail. So let's start with integrating climate change best practices. So integrating climate change into the various sectors and practices ensures that societies are better equipped to mitigate and adapt to its effects. To discover some best practices that are commonly implemented worldwide. So it is the mainstreaming climate change into policies. So climate considerations should be embedded in all levels of decision-making, from urban planning to national economic strategies. Governments can integrate climate goals into development plans, ensuring that climate resilience becomes a core focus. An example of that is the climate action plans. If the cities were to adopt climate action plans and have specific goals for reducing emissions and adapting infrastructure based on climate change and the policies. Furthermore, promoting renewable energy adoption. So another best practice is to shift towards renewable energy sources, whether it's solar, wind, hydroelectric power, reducing the carbon footprints. Countries and organizations can also provide incentives such as subsidies, tax rebates, and grants to accelerate renewable energy and adoption. One of the examples is Denmark's successful integration of wind energy into its power grid with a goal to become carbon neutral by 2050. Next, another best practice is enhancing sustainable practices in industries. So industries can implement sustainable practices such as improving energy efficiency, adopting circular economy models, and reducing waste. Mind you, this can happen in many different industries, whether we are talking about the fashion industry or we are talking about other industries, the tech industry, and so on. Utilizing technologies like carbon capture and storage can help reduce emissions. Example is, of course, we all know Tesla. So Tesla's focus on innovation is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. So when the Tesla team sits around and they're trying to come up with an idea, the first thing they think about is it sustainable? Is it not? Imagine what would happen when all of the industries, the companies, industries, decide to think in the same way and take the same approach that Tesla has taken. How much better would we have the situation when it comes to climate change? This is a food for thought. Building climate resilient infrastructure. So infrastructure development must consider climate risks such as rising sea levels, floods, and extreme weather. So we are not at the point of the beginning of climate change. Of course, you know, and you can feel it in your own local area. The weather is changing. And everyone is weirded out by it. It's too hot, it's too cold, we're in May, the weather is like this, like that. So we are already feeling climate change at a maximum level. The way that infrastructure, climate resilient infrastructure can help is elevated roads in flood prone areas, as an example, green roofs to mitigate urban heat islands, for example, seawalls in coastal cities. So the Netherlands' innovative water management system protects against sea level rise. So this is something done in Netherlands. We will be watching a video that is done by the UNEP. It is basically a publication that demonstrates how buildings and community spaces can be constructed to increase their resilience to climate change, especially in developing countries where structures are largely self-built. The practical guide offers construction solutions to adapt a range of different risks in various climates. So disclaimer, this video is done and produced by the UNEP. I just thought that it would be very interesting to watch because it really does show us how exactly can we have an infrastructure that can help with climate change. Yes. So just want to mention one thing about the video is that the three most important factors to take in mind, as in the video, it showed that first is the policies, to have changed policies leaning towards helping getting rid of climate change or reducing climate change. The second point was to make sure that we find a solution based on the local environment and local climate itself. So different parts of the world have different problems coming from climate change. Somewhere the ice is melting, another place there's too much rainfall. So it differs according to the local weather. And also in the video, it was very important to mention that there is a nature-based solution, because a nature-based solution is one of the reasons they believe that it will make the resilience towards climate change increase. So I hope you liked the video. We will continue with more best practices, and you can write any messages in Turkish or in English in the chat box, in the comment chat box, and I will be checking them out after we finish the best practices topic. So, supporting community-led climate solutions. Involving communities in climate change initiatives ensures locally tailored solutions that are practical and inclusive. So, locally tailored solutions. This is what I was mentioning about. Community-driven mangrove restoration project in Southeast Asia, as an example, help reduce coastal erosion and enhance biodiversity. Another best practice is advancing climate education and awareness. So educating the people about climate change and sustainability empowers them to make informed decisions. We have schools, businesses, media campaigns that can raise awareness about the impacts of climate change and give steps to mitigate it. Example is the program like UNESCO's Climate Change Education for Sustainable Development, which includes all the information needed about climate change. It includes everything needed about sustainability in a way that it is educational and it can give people a clear idea about what it is. Another best practice is monitoring and evaluation. So if we're taking care of climate change, we are changing policies, we still need to make sure that we monitor and evaluate. To establish systems to regularly monitor effectiveness of climate policies and projects, adapting them as needed, because it is really a situation that is dealt nature against nature. And for us as humans, we need to make sure that we go through some series of trials and errors, because maybe a solution, a policy can work for the next 5 years, but then the 5 years after, this policy will be needing to change. So an example of monitoring and evaluation is the use of digital dashboards and AI to track carbon emissions and climate resilience efforts. Next, integrating climate best practices into the classroom. So now I will be checking the chat box, because we're going to move now to the topic of how do we integrate these best practices into the classroom to teach the students as teachers. I will be checking the chat really quickly. Do we have any messages? Please share. There's no video. Voice of the video. That sounds like an issue, but I will be sending the link of the video so we don't go back with the webinar at the end of the webinar. And if you are interested, you can watch it again with the voice. I'm just glad that it had the subtitles, so maybe you could read. Thank you so much. Moving on with our slides. So